Match there for Asus Fate guaranteed their qualification into the next stage of the Green Premier League. This is another big match here for Team Fat Rabbit and the Saigon Jokers. Saigon Jokers obviously have guaranteed their spot in the GPL,
so
the next stage.
They will be looking to at least help out their Vietnamese brethren a bit here if they do take the U1. It will eliminate their chances, or at least diminish the chances of the Fat Rabbit advancing out. So very fast pick and bend here. Azir, Jarvan, and Jaina taking out for Team Fat Rabbit, as well as LeBlanc, Rombo, and Rek'Sai being taken away for Saigon Jokers.
That's right. Team Fat Rabbit, they're hovering over Lissandra and Andy, two champions that worked well for them on Wednesday when they played against Hanoi Full Lewis. Didn't quite work out for them. We went for Narvan, the Narvan combo. And such, they have actually banned out Jarvan against Safety for this game.
Yeah, which is a good response pick because Safety mostly only plays Jarvan or Lee Sin. So they banned out the Jarvan, they took the Lee Sin now. Safety will have to play a rather uncomfortable champion here for him, so Pantheon would be one of those things he would default to. To talk about Jokebot's Lissandra pickup here, it's actually much better than the Gnar, considering on Wednesday, as you mentioned, his Gnar was a bit lackluster in terms of teleports. He always teleported in mini Gnar form and couldn't get the impact. With Lissandra, teleporting even at level 3, you have that Ring of Frost, lock up some people, a bit more impactful.
That's right, Saigon Jokers now have time to respond with two picks to them. They've picked up Cassidy here, which can be played by Nick Sporter or Lovita. Gonna be interesting to see which lane Saigon Jokers pull that into.
With the Gnar out, it will mean that Cassidy will be in the mid lane, so Pantheon here for Safety, very expected pick. I hope they go for the Alistair or the Thresh here for Su, because those are the two things he's been faltering onto whenever that Janna has been taken out. And it will also open their AD carry for the counter pick against Pest Chat, which is something historically you always want to counter pick against when you're playing against the Fat Rabbit.
Saigon Jokers hovering over Lulu here, who we don't really see being picked up as a support. So Lovita not locking in that just yet. Prince locking in the Pantheon, and Lovita will actually lock in Lulu, who should be the support for the Saigon Jokers in this game.
Yeah.
Like you said, Su leaving the last pick as an AD carry for Prince to counter pick against Pest Trap, depending on what he picks up here. But very strange that it would need to counter pick that lane, especially because Saigon Jokers, they like to go for the lane swap. They like to do the 2v1 top lane swap very often. So I'm very surprised that they didn't hold their mid lane pick for last.
Yeah, I have to agree there. Now the last two picks here for Fat Rabbit will be the AD carry as well as the mid laner here. Graves is still open for Pest Trap. He's played that to perfection this week. Xerath against Cassidy though would be a rather tedious matchup for Dream here in the mid lane.
Pest Trap hovering over Corki. He has been playing a lot of Graves lately, but his Corki is definitely a force to be reckoned with. And with their last game in the GPL group stages, this should be one of the champions he'd be more comfortable playing coming into this match. Crazy Pine locks in the Xerath, seemingly for Dream in the mid lane. That is going to be one interesting pick, seeing that Saigon Jokers have banned out LeBlanc against Dream.
Yeah, so this is the issue here. The Fat Rabbits, they do have a lot of AP damage here, and against Cassidy, that's not something you always want.
No.
In terms of their composition as well, it makes them very easy to itemize against. An early Hex Drinker for Gnar here would really help him in lane, as well as the Aegis early from Pantheon, or even Lulu in this case. Whereas from the side of Saigon Jokers, they did get that Sivir, which was something Prince put a lot of priority on. When he wasn't playing Lucian or Graves, he would play Sivir. And with the hard engage composition, you have that Gnar, you have the Unstoppable Sky, the Grand Skyfall, and the Wild Growth. You have a lot of engage potential on Saigon Joker's side.
That's right. Looking at Fat Rabbits, they do have quite a bit of engage potential as well. As always, D-Dan could always jump in and kick someone into the team. You have Jokebot on Lissandra that's very good with initiating, and so is Annie. Annie can definitely initiate, especially when her flash is up. Xerath has the potential to, but we don't see Xerath trying to start the fight all that often. Saigon Jokers, like you said though, they have this very nice all-in team comp. They can jump into the Fat Rabbits team and try and melt them before there's a response from the Fat Rabbits.
Yeah, I was quite happy that you talked about engage potential coming here for the Rabbits, because Crazy Pine, whenever he played Annie, historically, he would always rush the Talisman of Ascension and then straight into Righteous Glory to, just run straight forward, get that Tibbers on the 2 or 3 members. And in the backline, Dream could use his Rite of Ascension, Rite of the Arcane, and just snipe people down from the backline. If you catch out Gnar that way, it's more or less a one fight for you.
That's true. Saigon Jokers, so they don't look like they want to be caught out too easily, especially with Sivir, Cassidy, and Lulu being picked up here. They have a lot of mobility and a lot of defenses coming in from the Wild Growth, the health picks, and of course the Spell Shield coming in from Sivir as well. So they have a lot of ways to negate the engage coming for Fat Rabbits. I'm very surprised that Sivir actually got through the picks, the ban phase
Yeah.
for the Saigon Jokers. Normally teams don't want the Saigon Jokers to pick up Sivir.
Yeah, that has to do mostly because of how their style of play goes. They like to lane swap, so early on that lane disadvantage is negated, and then they hit their power spike very early when they do that lane swap in the top laner, use the on the hunt immediately when they have to fight for an objective, and they push their advantage that way. So, interesting as you mentioned, Sivir going over to Prince here. However, Saigon Jokers did draft a extremely greedy composition. They're very low damage with the Gnar, with the Cassidy, and the Sivir. They have to wait for 30 minutes, even 28 minutes to even get to the point where they can hit hard. So there's a small window here for Team Fat Rabbit to go aggressive, start sieging with that Xerath, with that Lissandra, find the flanks, get the burst damage down. You have that Corki for the poke, so might as well use that early advantage in that window.
I want to see how the lane matchups go here. Of course, we're going to have Lee Sin going against Pantheon in the jungle, D-Dan against Safety there. Dream and Novita should be facing off in the mid lane, Xerath against Cassidy. I want to see where the rest of the three champions go. Lissandra, Corki, and Annie. One of the two, either Jokebot or Pestchap, will be paired up with Crazy Pine, depending on how the lane swaps go here. Jokebot could potentially be in a 1-on-2 lane or even a 2-on-2 lane if Crazy Pine decides to join him if Saigon Jokers force a Gnar Lulu lane. Or we could potentially see Pestchap go up 1-on-1 against, 2-on-1 against Nixwater playing Gnar. Crazy Pine and him might be able to stop him from snowballing into this game, and we can see Prince and Sue actually go up 2-on-1 against Jokebot in either the top or bottom lane. It's going to be very interesting to see where these matches, where these laners go. I don't think that we will see a traditional lane coming in from these teams.
Yeah, I have to agree with you exactly on that point, because Fat Rabbit, either way they're going to lane swap, and with that Cassidy early on, he's very weak before he hits level 6, he only has that flash to escape. If you have Crazy Pine or Annie just roaming around, exerting all that pressure in the mid lane, get your stun at level 1, just walk over, help Dream in that early situation. We've seen multiple supports from OGN and LCK do that, where your early level support just roams up the mid lane, uses the exhaust, use the CC, and get your other mid laner hit.
Alright, so we're about to head into that game between Saigon Jokers and Team Pepper. Another interesting pickup from between these two teams is that the support for Fat Rabbits has gone with Crazy Pine, has gone with Exhaust, whereas you see Saigon Jokers, they picked up Ignite on Lulu in the bottom lane.
It's very, very aggressive because they could pick up the kills early in lane. They'll be pushing a lot with the Ricochet as well as the auto attacks from this Lulu here. So if they do shove them in, they could poke them down eventually and get a very easy kill pickup with the Glitter Lance and Ignite. So very aggressive summoner pickup there.
Definitely very aggressive. Strange that we don't see the reversal, because normally Annie is known for that high burst as a support champion, whereas we see a lot, it's going to be Lulu who wants to be more defensive, pick up Exhaust, heal for the 80 carry, and the rest of the team a little bit more than an Annie would. So surprising that we're going to see that pickup coming in from Lulu instead.
Yeah, spawning on the blue side here, the Fat Rabbits going 2-on-2 in the bot lane. Spreading out very defensively is this Singaporean side, whereas SAJ responding in kind, spreading out at all the entrances of the map to spot out early shenanigans here. I would wager that an early ward's going to go down from SAJ here. If they do spot out the 2v2 in the bot lane, they will recall and go for that lane swap here.
I want to see how early Fat Rabbit decide to place down their ward in the bottom lane against Saigon Jokers. Especially with a Pantheon jungle, he potentially can go for a very early gank in the bottom or mid lane, even the top lane. So I want to see how Team Fat Rabbit prepare for that. Especially with Pantheon signaling that he wants to go and start on the bottom side of the jungle. There has been a trinket, like he said, placed on Gromp. So they will know if Pantheon starts there. He could be a little bit cheeky though and start blue buff right away, which we have seen before.
Yeah, indeed. And now Pantheon, knowing that the ward was on Gromp, will be moving up to the top side here. Pestchap going to the lane very early, trying to start a freeze. Both teams reading the lane swap and both not doing anything here. Preempted and wanting the reverse 2-on-1. So it ends up in a 2v2 in the bot lane all in all.
Oh no, Sue is actually not heading into the bottom lane, so Corki will meet Sivir very early, signifying that there is going to be a 2-on-2 lane in the bottom lane. But now it's going to be Pestchap and Crazy Pine in the bottom lane, whereas we can have Lulu up in the top lane with Nixwater. So this will be a Gnar Lulu lane against Lissandra.
I don't like this at all, cause of how Sivert, if she
Uh-oh.
wants to harass, she has to use the ricochet and the wave's gonna push up. Crazy Pine with his stun charged up is gonna zone away Prince very heavily here. The auto attacks will give him gold. And unless Sue goes down to the bot lane to help out, or they do try to get a kill into Jokebot, there's nothing that's gonna come out advantages for SAJ here.
Not a huge freeze coming in from from Petschap there. It looked like he wanted to set up a freeze in the bottom lane. Instead, the minions are pushing against his favor. However, it actually turns out good for him, seeing that because of the trinkets placed up in the top lane, they were able to spot out. Sorry, they were not able to spot out Lulu and Pantheon, but they were actually able to stop him from going for an engage. Now D-Dan looks like he wants to try and get some action up in the top lane. Will hit his Q onto Nick's Sword to put some damage down. That's about it.
Yeah, it's completely fine. He zoned him away from the wave. Now, safety will be coming in to give his top laner a bit of safety, but straight off the bat, 13-2. Prince is so far ahead in this bot lane. Su is coming in to help, but he's under level as compared to Crazy Pine, so they're going to shove them off this wave.
Slight pause coming in here. It seems that one of the teams is having a bit of technical difficulties. Team Fat Rabbit have a slight advantage in the bottom lane because they're able to get the push going very early. Petschap does have 10 minions more in the bag than Prince does on Sivir here. And at the same time, although Sue was able to pick up a pink and vision ward, he is an entire level behind Petschap and Crazy Pine. So effectively, Crazy Pine could hit his power spike on Annie faster than Sue can pick the defensive spike that Lulu has at level 6.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. And the second conundrum would be that the wave is pushed up for the Fat Rabbit here. So Sue can't walk out of the lane to just lay down those wards. They're going to spot him if he leaves the lane and actually make Prince very susceptible to getting bullied out. So those wards aren't really going to come into effect anytime soon. Now the pause here, bit of a technical issue, I think. Very, I guess, acceptable the fact that we're playing inter-regional, so teams do have their occasional ping issues here.
Lovita in the mid lane, he is slightly ahead in terms of minions, bar that Dream hasn't killed as many in the mid lane so far. There's a little bit of a wave stacked up for Dream to take down soon. Lovita's still ahead on Kassadin against Xerath. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it is the nature of the matchup in the Kassadin versus Xerath, because you can more or less use your Now Sphere to deny all the damage and the poke coming in for Dream, and then using your E and your W, you can actually clear the wave pretty well. Your Nether Blade as well as Force Pulse will give you the ability to sustain up your mana, and he has gone for that very protective regeneration build. So that Flask as well as the Biscuit is going to keep him topped up while he CSs safely. You can trade your health for gold, no problem here. Safety coming to the bot lane is spotted out by that ward. Pings won't go down, so they do see him there.
Safety now, getting a gank in the bottom lane. Petschap will be the one that gets jumped on. Valkyrie though gets him out of there. Nicely timed for Petschap. Valkyrie, unlike a jump, doesn't get interrupted immediately by a stun. Actually, no, stun wouldn't interrupt the jump either. It's only a knock up there. The timing from Crazy Pine and Petschap was perfect to stop that gank.
Yeah, straight off the bat, the focus for SAJ here would be this bot lane. To be expected, Safety's level 2 pet the ganks with that shield stun. Now the junglers both recalling in a bit here. After Safety gets his blue buff, he's going to recall the early Stalker's Blade for D-Dan. Very aggressive, looking to go deep in the enemy jungle and get a lot of ganks going down, whereas Safety out Wager go for the Ranger's Trailblazer here. The bot lane, the stun lands on Sue.
Here comes D-Dan coming for the gank. Will be able to jump onto Sue after he flashed away. They will get first blood onto Petschap as well. Fantastic gank, but here comes a teleport coming from Nara into the bottom lane. Will successful? No, will actually not teleport down.
No, his teleport was interrupted there by the Ring of Frost on Jokebot, so very well played there by the top laner of the Fat Rabbit, using the snare and the root to stop the teleport. They will have the advantage in that window to utilize that early teleport cooldown for Jokebot here in the top lane.
That was a great gank in the bottom lane as well. D-Dan holding on to the second part of Sonic Wave Resonating Strike in order to jump on over to the under-leveled Sue after the flash was burnt. So they even put an Ignite down onto D-Dan in hopes to try and deter him from that gank in the bottom lane.
Yeah, at the end of the day as well, it was only a heal for Petschap being traded for the heal of Prince and the flash for Sue. So really a bigger net gain at the end of the day if you think about it.
D-Dan still down in this bottom lane. Crazy Pine does have that stun available. No ward in the Tri-Brush to spot this one out. SAJ have no vision as now they do. Crazy Pine went a little bit aggressive there. Not willing to burn a flash for the gank though.
Yeah, definitely should have gone for the flash there. Su, with all of his flash, would have made available the successful gank for D-Dan here, but he's sticking around. He wants to go for it. Round 2, Crazy Pine moving very aggressively forward.
He does go for the flash this time. Resonating strike hit. Su will be going down once again. Fat Rabbit putting the camp down in the bottom lane against this Lulu support, utilizing taking advantage, you can say, of the fact that he took so long to get into that lane. That's 2 kills going on over to Champ against an underfarmed Prince.
Yeah, and that was extremely well played by the Fat Rabbit, using the window opened by the previous gank. Once again, compiling on top of that Lee Sin, being played by D-Dan here so well. They've gotten a hit with that 13 CS lead. Chap has picked up that early Sheen, which will allow him to bully out the lane even more now.
Yep, that's right. Corki does have a huge power spike at level 6, and when he gets each component of his Sheen, that spike is even greater. A lot of times you see Corkies pick up the Phage first. Now it's actually getting Nixwater. It's going all Gnar in the top lane. Will actually flash away from the approaching D-Dan and safety there.
Yeah, showing a lot of respect to this Lee Sin being played by D-Dan here, using the flash even to escape from Jokebot. Now that will mean that his entrance in the team fight, the big teleport entrance on Mega Gnar, wouldn't be as huge as it would be previously when his flash was up. But bot lane, once again, the bullying begins here for Chap.
It has already begun. He's trying to stack up on minions here, stop Prince from getting anywhere close to farm. He does have that Sheen available, so every spell he throws will not only hurt, but his next auto attack will hurt that much more.
Yeah.
Each and every time in
and
the
the
mid
most
lane.
impressive thing is that now, because of that early lane advantage, he could just pick up the Ancient Coin here on Crazy Pine. It won't really affect his laning as much as compared to losing the AP from that early Frost Queen's claim. So pushing the advantage into a mid game now, preparing for that window that they have.
This lane begins between Dream and Levita. Dream just sticking back to farm, not willing to get close range against Cassidy. Was not significantly strong early, but strong enough to pose a threat on over to the Xerath mid lane.
Yeah, especially with safety's flash being up. If they close the distance onto Dream here, even the heal won't save him from the gank coming in. Jokebot rotating down to the bot lane from the top lane, wants to give a little help. D-Dan is sitting off the side. They want to make this a 3-man gank onto Levita, but safety is sitting on the other side, so both teams reading each other very well.
It is 3 against 2. Dream still being really aggressive. Levita reading it very nicely.
Su has come up to help, so it's a 3v3, but both teams just back off. Don't want any early action yet. Because it was a 4v3 by the Fat Rabbit, there was a ward deep in the jungle that spotted Crazy Pine roaming up to from the bot lane. So SAJ here with the early information, making the safe play. Very well done.
As long as Crazy Pine holds on to the stun, it's so hard for Saigon Jokers to try and stop Fat Rabbit's aggression here. Su gonna pop the Whimsy on himself in order to get away from stun range from Annie, who did not have that Tibbers available. That's a level 4 Lulu in the bottom lane. Now Levita gonna get jumped on by Dream Jokebot. Now at the flash play, here comes that ultimate coming in. One charge of Seraph, 2 missing. The third one will actually be taken down by Crazy Pine. Su will get taken down as well. Fat Rabbit going really aggressive this team fight. Safety flashed it away. Chap trying to get a little bit more damage down. One more rocket, it's enough. Will he dodge it? No, he will not. Double kill coming over to Chap. Team Fat Rabbit are leading 5-0 against the Saigon Jokers right now. Dominating performance coming in from these players.
Yeah, and once again, that window being opened up by the Fat Rabbit, utilizing it to perfection. Teleport only just came up for Nixwater. His flash wasn't available. Even if he joined that fight, he wouldn't have done much, considering Mini Gnar at level 8 with only Hex Drinker won't do much. Now, they could have taken the dragon in that short space where everyone on SAJ was dead, but instead going for the safe blue buff and the vision down will give them a lot more early information than the early dragon take.
Chap and Crazy Pine are destroying this bottom lane right now. Su just hit level 5, whereas Chap is 7, and Crazy Pine is 6 already.
Yep.
Negating the wild growth to that for that fight was incredibly huge. D-Dan knew the exact time to go aggressive as well on his Lee Sin in the mid lane.
And that was partly because Su went up to the top lane early, preempting the 2v1. Instead, it didn't pay off, and as I mentioned, you know, they really paid hard in their bot lane. Credit to Peschap as well as Crazy Pine for pushing their advantage in the bot lane. Triforce being finished here 4-0-0. I don't think Prince and Su are gonna have a good day here.
Dream missing that Q there from Sarah. Looking at the gold score right now, Fat Rabbit are about just over 2,000 gold in the lead. Something scary for Saigon Jokers here. Something scary for Saigon Jokers here is Pantheon has not made an impact on this game at all. Yes, he does feel a little bit better than Lee Sin will into the late game, but not that much if he's not going to help out
yeah,
the
I'll get
team
to
early.
the Pantheon pick in a bit, but here, the Fat Rabbit, they got that free dragon because of the ward around the blue buff. If our observer can kindly show us the ward behind the blue buff wall, they called out safety recalling. The moment he completed his recall, they saw that small window for that dragon. They went over and took it without resistance. Now, because of this uncomfortable pick for safety here, the Pantheon is not something he's played a lot. Rather, his counterpart 007X does like the Pantheon. He's gone on Lee Sin and Jarvan all this time, and now when you have that immobile jungler in the form of Pantheon, you don't really know how to compensate for that against a very mobile composition, or rather a poke-heavy composition.
And we're going to see the Pantheon jump into mid lane against Dream there. Lovita and Safety will pick that one up nicely. Safety actually giving that kill on over to Lovita. Nothing much you can do about that. Eventually, Pantheon is going to ult behind somebody. It's not too much that you can do. Bottom lane, though, Prince actually going to be jumped on here. Here comes a Nyx Ward to teleport down. Gets the stun to Peschap. D-Dan's going to kick him away. Crazy Pine taking a lot of damage with the Ignite popped as well. Su slowing down both Peschap and D-Dan. A boulder is thrown on top of that. Safety now coming in for the gank. Peschap going to give his life for the team. He's going to try and take down Prince here. Not enough damage to do so. That's 4 kills on over the Saigon Jokers within the span of a minute. They'll trade that for a tower, but the bot lane tower should be going down as well. Now they've closed up the gold gap to only 400 gold in favor of Fat Rabbit with that one play by the Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, the Saigon Jokers just immediately coming out knowing that the Fat Rabbit won the early advantage, and they reply they aren't kidding around anymore now. Tower for turret, but 4 kills go over to SAJ as you mentioned, with the gold gap being even now. They could actually scale into the late game very well. And I think all credit to safety there, just immediately pulling the trigger. In the mid lane, roaming down to the bot, the communication was solid. They popped D on the hunt just at the right moment when the teleport was coming in, and they cleaned house.
Clean house, they definitely did there. The engage from the Saigon Jokers was perfect. The teleport down from Gnar was in the furthest brush in the bottom lane.
Cutting off all the escapes. So
cutting off all the escape. Stunning Peschap twice, once with the Gnar ultimate, next with the slam. Coming in from Gnar. Right after that, we saw the flash from Lulu to slow down both Peschap and D-Dan will try to make their escape. Now Crazy Pine actually going to get jumped on by Nyx Water here. D-Dan coming in from the back will kick safety away, go in for the kill himself, but will get absolutely obliterated as Dream misses all 3 charges of his ultimate on Xerath there.
Yeah, if you take a look at your mini-map, Corki, Peschap, he's hit his power spike for 1-0, but he wasn't even in that fight, and they over-engaged. They went deep in the jungle against a very mobile SAJ composition. This is not something you should be doing as the Fat Rabbit.
Jokebot now getting jumped on by Saigon Jokers, not prepared for that aggression. We'll put the Ring of Frost to slow down everybody, but Lovita, just one more Rift Walk be enough. He actually flashes in for this one, returns a kill on over to Dream, who gets the stun down as soon as he's out. Peschap now has rotated up into the mid lane. He's trying to see what he can do with the Xerath pick coming in here. Gets one rocking off, but that's about it. Like you said, Peschap not in the fight in the mid lane. Team Fat Rabbit should have either decided not to engage there or asked Peschap to come over before they did.
Yeah, this is a window of opportunity there. A very big cooldown by Prince being blown. No on the hunt means no defense, no re-engage, so they can actually push very deep into the jungle here and get some vision down. As you can see, Peschap just walks in immediately, doesn't even bother to check if there's anyone there. They sit in the brush, deward it, and they get the timer on the blue buff, which is something Cassidy desperately needs.
They're getting a stun down on the safety here. Safety walking to the jungle. There goes Peschap jumping over. Here goes the Rift Wall from Cassidy. They may be able to turn this one around. D-Dan gets jumped on. Teleport from Lissandra coming in, but it's not going to do anything, so they cancel that one immediately. Although Lee Sin is a powerhouse early on in the game of League of Legends, he is still a very squishy champion. You can see there how he got absolutely obliterated on that turnaround. Nyx Water jumping straight onto Jokebot here, turning into Mega Gnar, putting as much damage down as he can.
Yeah, take a look at his itemization here. Normally, most Gnar players will go for that one defensive and offensive item in the form of Hex Drinker or Brutalizer, and then straight go into the resistances. Now he's done that exactly and is paying dividends in this top lane here. Jokebot's traits won't hurt him as much, and he can actually move very aggressively forward. Jokebot not taking the Claw of Doom may have cost him a little bit there.
Jokebot stopping Nixwater from heading back to base. He's going actually aggressive now, seeing that he is in mini Gnar form and had no rage stacked up to try and transform anytime soon. Looking at the scoreboard right now, I mean the items I should say, Trinity Force picked up by Corki, but an Infinity Edge picked up by Sivir already. So items fairly even for the attack damage carries. Corki though does have that slight power spike in the mid game due to the nature of his kit. Sivir however has a power spike in terms of utility. We were able to provide a ton of utility on 4 Saigon Jokers.
You know, the Fat Rabbit have to group up. They have to challenge this second, or rather, the second spawning of the dragon here. That ward, that brush is not warded. 2 members of SAJ are sitting in there. Hashtag pushing up this bot wave will open up a window for them to engage onto
Pantheon.
them. There we go.
Jokebot gonna actually get out of there immediately, so Pantheon ult is down. Good sign for Fat Rabbit. Pestchap needs to join though.
And the On the Hunt has been popped, so there is a huge window now for the Fat Rabbit to counter engage using that Claw of Doom as well as the Flash Tibbers from Annie here. They are split out. SAJ, a good engagement, catching 2 people with that Tibbers will effectively win them this fight. Crazy Pie moving very aggressively forward here, leading the charge together with Jokebot. They know what they have to do to take this dragon.
Fat Rabbits grouping up for this dragon nicely. They have ample positioning here, although Saigon Jokers are in the pit. They want to be able to have the position to wrap around Team Fat Rabbit. Nixwater a little bit too far in the back lines, takes a bit of poke damage from Pestchap and Seraph. That's a good combination of having this AD carry and mid laner is the fact that they're going to have a lot of damage to poke here. Fat Rabbit going to start on the dragon, try and force the fight coming in. Poke is going down to Sue as well. Dragon dealing a lot of damage to Fat Rabbit still.
Yeah, you have to watch Nixwater. Once the Mega Gnar comes up, that should be the signal to go in together as Lovita. There we go.
There they go, Jokebot taking a ton of damage. Heals actually popped early. And with that, Saigon Jokers' sake, they go in, they get the poke down, they disengage while they have more health than Fat Rabbits, making it hard for Fat Rabbits to engage.
Yeah, Fat Rabbit should not take this fight here. The On the Hunt will be up in 15 seconds. They can pick them off after this dragon. Then you shouldn't go for a steal here. You'll probably get caught out very simply. There we go.
Reset though. Crazy Pine jumping over the stun into Sue and Prince. Jokebot coming in from behind. Sue taking a lot of damage. He will go down. No, he does not. The ultimate coming for Seraph will hit 2 and miss 3. It's now a 3-on-4. But Saigon Jokers, all of their members are really low right now. Dream does not manage to get the snipe in on over to the Saigon Jokers. Pestchap needs to try and get into the back lines here. D-Dan gets the stun down. No, he will be going over to Gnar. That's 1 kill for Team Fat Rabbit though. They evade the Boomerang Blade. Dream gets another kill there as Sue is the last member alive for the Saigon Jokers. Fat Rabbits. Pestchap flashes in on him. Picks up the nice and final kill. Ace for Team Fat Rabbit, although they do lose the dragon in the process.
Yeah, in this composition where the Fat Rabbit is playing against SAJ, the delayed fights are the best. Using that poke from Xerath, using the flexibility of the composition, using that Corki. A bit of a misplay there by D-Dan to get the dragon stolen away, but they cleaned up that fight very well. They know the limits of their composition and they're playing it very well here.
4 kills on over to Dream and 6 kills on Pestchap right now. That's where you want all of your kills to be, on the marksman and on the mid laner, where most of your damage output would be for Fat Rabbit. Bilgewater Cutlass being picked up by Pestchap as well. He looks like he wants to pick up Blade of the Ruined King to stack onto that mixed damage that Corki will be dealing, making him that untankable marksman.
Yeah, so the best strategy here for the Singaporean side will be to go in very deep as a group and get that vision down to spot out the Pantheon engages. That Grand Skyfall can be spotted out in the jungle if you have a ward on him while he's channeling, so that's something that they should put some focus on, as well as warding the blind spot for that Kassadin to prevent him from jumping in. But here they're going to be engaging on this red buff, not something I particularly endorse.
They do have positioning. They did have positioning to try and engage while Saigon Jokers were taking the red buff. They decided not to, as you said. Currently, top lane is pushing against Fat Rabbits, whereas the bottom lane is pushing against the Saigon Jokers. Saigon Jokers obviously do have the slight advantage of having mobile champions. So they are able to deal with split threats easier. Next water now going to get actually absolutely jumped on by Fat Rabbit. Will miss one ultimate for Dream. He misses two onto Gnar. Gnar will be able to heal up there. And now it's going to be Prince taking a ton of damage. So is Safety, but not quite able to finish off the low health members of the Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, you can absolutely not fight in a choke against Fat Rabbit, considering they have so much line damage and
Yes.
AoE coming from the Zera, from the Corki, as well as the Lissandra and Annie. If you choke up in that point, you're gonna get caught and burst it down.
Dream though, missing the charges with his ultimate has costed quite a few kills so far. That was one of them onto Gnar after he got kicked back by Lee Sin while being stunned.
Yeah, definitely have to
Very
agree with you there.
strange.
His Zerath play isn't as immaculate as his LeBlanc play, we have to call that out. Missing a couple shots of the Rat of the Arcane, however, 4-1 and 3, the scores don't lie. He has been doing work in this game now.
Definitely has been doing work. We saw that in the Dragon fight earlier, hitting a lot of kills to get the cleanup against the Saigon Jokers.
I mean, if you think about it, you could miss all the outs in the world. If you hit every Q, that's good enough.
Definitely. Next water turning into Mega Gnar here, trying to take away this pink ward. Waits for the transformation before taking that down. SAJ, they are catching up slowly in terms of the gold disadvantage they have right now. Only 500 behind, 11 to 11 in terms of kills. They are 2 towers down. Just where all of the gold that they are missing is coming from right now. If you look at the gold individually between champions, Pantheon has a slight gold lead on Lee Sin in the jungle top lane. Gnar has a few hundred gold, 700 gold ahead of the Sandra, but mid lane, 1,000 gold in advantage to Xerath, and then the bottom lane, it's going to be 2,000 gold in advantage to Peschap. So lots of advantage coming in for the bottom lane, 80 carry, and the mid lane, AP carry for Team Fat Rabbit.
Yeah, but with that gold deficit on the Kassadin as well as the Sivir, those champions aren't really too dependent on gold beyond the Kassadin. He wants that levels, and Sivir, she's more or less an outbot at this point in time. So being behind on gold won't hurt SAJ as much as it would, say, for Peschap or Dream here. They have a lot of options if they want to take this game off. They can't get caught like that though.
Here comes Crazy Pine, ultimate for Xerath, 1, 2, stun, 3, the last charge will miss again coming from Dream. The stun from Annie juked out Dream. He threw the last charge way too far, even though his stun was put down. D-Dan now chasing onto Nixwater, who is on mini Gnar form. Lovita will actually take down Jokebot before he is able to teleport out of there. Now it's going to be mini Gnar flashing away to avoid the kill coming out from Fat Rabbits. Bottom lane is being pushed by Lovita, so somebody from Fat Rabbits has to be moved down to stop that threat.
Yeah, this is very tricky. They are sending Dream to split push against this Kassadin, which is not something you typically want to do. With that gap closer, he has the Abyssal Scepter now, so he's going to be dealing more damage to Dream than he will do in return to this Kassadin. Setting a pick is the Fat Rabbit here.
Though, picked back into the team. He will go down immediately. Now Safety in a little bit of trouble. The teleport will come out for Gnar. Crazy Pine does get jumped on. He will be going down. So Saigon Jokers will trade 1-for-1 after their support does get picked
yeah,
off.
take a look at the back line. Lovita is coming up. He has the flank on the Fat Rabbit here. 36 seconds is Dragon.
D-Dan getting jumped on now. Safety taking a lot of damage though. Xerath will not be able to put that Q down. Try and snipe him off. Like you said, Dragon is up in 15 seconds now. So it should be an easy pick off for Saigon Jokers. If they decide to go for it, that is.
Yeah, the good news is that the major poke champions for the Rabbits here are available.
Not if Dream. Not if Dream gets picked up. But here comes Peschap diving into the back lines. Will not be able to evade the boulder though, and such will actually have to flash over to the red buff wall. Prince will flash over to try and follow and take him down. They trade 1-for-1 once again, but give up complete control of the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, they acknowledge that this Dragon can't be contested. They send Jokebot to the top lane to start their push, whereas you can see immediately Crazy Pine going deep for that return vision now. Trading a small objective for small wins across the map is a good way to stay in the game. Fat Rabbit acknowledges this and are taking the measures that they need, whereas SAJ now, they jump even further ahead in terms of gold value as well as total goal score.
Fat Rabbit camping in the red buff bush, waiting for Saigon Jokers to walk a little bit too far. Boomerang Blade being thrown out by Nick's Water will spot them out. TFR have to back off after that. Steal attempt comes in from D-Dad. Nowhere close to picking up that dragon. Blade of the Ruin King has been complete by Peschap. He is now working on what seems to be his last Whisper or Infinity Edge, where Sivir is still stuck on building her static shiv.
Yeah, and that's one of the big problems that SAJ has. SAJ's big problem is that they don't have enough wave clear on the whole. Without that static shift, without that Sivir being present here, Nar as well as Kassadin won't be clearing waves as hard as the Zeref and Corki. So they really desperately need that static shift for Prince here. But TFR, they want to stop him from, they want everyone from SAJ to not hit their power spike. So they're forcing these small skirmishes over wards, over areas of control here. And they're doing an absolutely fantastic job. SAJ replying in kind, trying to stop the waves. They do have that small window here where Kassadin has yet to complete his hourglass for Fat Rabbit to jump on them.
Fat Rabbit, they're gonna engage here. They jump onto Su. Su will get taken out immediately. Jokebot throws in the E and flashes in to get the Glacial Prison to take him down. Pick coming in for Fat Rabbit. They're pinging onto Baron, but that might not be the best of ideas.
Yeah, Baron Pit now for Nar is more or less a instant 5-man knock into the wall. So very tricky here, sitting in the brush to set up the Baron bait.
They're gonna go for an engage here. They pop that locket. It's gonna be Crazy Pine in the front lines. Does not decide to initiate with his bear there. On the hunt, being popped by Prince to try and run away.
Yeah, that's completely acceptable in terms of trade. Now SAJ doesn't have that response timer to stop them from moving across the map with the on hunt being down, so they don't really have the actual opportunity to choose fights here for the next 60 seconds.
7-1-5. Peschap should be wanting to pick up his last Whisper soon. Corki traditionally is a champion that is very hard for the front line of the opposition team to tank because he has true damage from his passive, does 40% magic damage of all his abilities, and since he's built Sorcerer's Boots, even more on top of that. He's going to deal percent-based health damage from his Blade of the Ruin King, extra damage because of his Trinity Force, and Last Whisper is going to completely shred armor along with his Gatling gun as well.
Yeah,
making it very hard to tank.
Most Corkis you see normally don't get to this point, but just because he's been picking up so many kills and majority of the CS on his team, he's actually hit a lot of core items as compared to your normal run-of-the-mill solo queue or even competitive Corki player.
Lee Sin picked up that Kindle gem. Let's see what he builds next. It could be a Locket of the Iron Solari being picked up, which would be very good against Kassadin and somewhat against Su as well. Have to see what he decides to do with that. Lysandra has not picked up the Zhonya Zep, only Morello Nomicon so far. Norello Monicon actually didn't actually pick up the Su here. Safety not taking a lot of damage, will flash away. Now it's going to be Prince, who does get jumped up by 3 members, gets stunned as well. Peschap goes on a rampage, 8-1-5. Fat Rabbits get 2 picks onto the bottom lane of the Saigon Jokers, and they immediately run over to the Baron Pit.
Now I've been counting since the start of that brush bait has begun. They've been doing it 4 times, and they finally get the pick on the 5th time. Levita is a bit overextended, but the teleport from Nick's Water will give him a bit of support. But yes, 4 previous attempts at making a pick on Su in that particular lane of area there, and they do finally get him as well as Prince. So a bonus there for TFR. They slowed the momentum that SAJ has sort of picked up. SAJ, on the other hand, has gotten their core items on Levita as well as Prince. Static Shift will mean extremely effective wave clear, and with the Zhonyas, Levita can be the one to stall up the front line when On the Hunt is popped.
He's definitely given away a few kills this game so far. 2, 7, and 8. He's been one of the main targets for Fat Rabbits to pick off here and there. 8-1-5 for Corki. Has picked up his last Whisper now, along with a pink ward. And the upgraded Scrying Orb as well. Other items for the team. Zhonya's been picked up by Jokebot. Zeref building on his own after the Rabadon's Death Cap and Morello Nomicon. And he does have the speed up along with the catalyst right now, so we'll have to see what Andy decides to turn that item into 2 side zones for Lee Sin as well.
It's gonna be the righteous glory here for Crazy Pine. They need their hard engage to allow Jokebot to follow up and keep the backline safe. So if you're the one starting the fight on SAJ, it means that Peschap, it means that Dream has all that time and space in the backline to fire down their artillery shots as compared to SAJ engaging on them. So that should be the preferred build here for Crazy Pine.
Nar has Banshees, Hexdrinker, Merc Threads looking to build the Randuin's Omen next. Safety on the other hand, 4, 2, and 6. Warriors upgrade on his jungle item, Merc Threads. Just the cloak being picked up so far and a bit of his Randuin, so it doesn't have a complete item just yet. Have to see what Pantheon goes with next. Zhonya's ROA and Abyssal being picked up by Cassidy. So that's one very tanky mid laner actually for the Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, very tanky indeed, and he will be reducing the magic resist of everyone around him. So that means Su is going to be hitting harder, as well as
here comes Pantheon. Engagement. Nixwater straight into the face of Dream, and Petsham gets double Gnar stuns here, but safety will go down incredibly low. Nixwater and Lovita going to jump into the back line. Dream trying to hold his own. He will get jumped on by Lovita. Double kill coming on over to Prince, and that was a beautiful Gnar engagement. The Gnar into the wall, followed by the fist slam to get the stun lock onto both Fed members of Fat Rabbit.
Yeah, that's exactly who you want to pick off when you choose an engagement like that. SAJ recognize that they have to be the ones to pull the trigger, and they go immediately on the hunt. Follow perfectly chained by the rest of the team. They call the shot, and they go for it now. The inhibitor turret may not go down. Let's take a look at this replay now.
Nixwater, bam, flashes in for that Gnar stun. Jokebot, D-Dan taking so much damage. He tries to come back and peel for Peschap.
Look at this wild growth here, so good. Knocking both of them up, stalling them. And then it's just on the backline rampage here by Lovita. Dream didn't even stand a chance. The Zhonyas from Jokebot only prolonged his life for a tiny bit.
Not at all. Now Saigon Joker's definitely in the driving seat. So far in the lead, 6,000 gold advantage for the Saigon Jokers. That engage was absolutely perfect from the Vietnamese team.
And they did pick up, they didn't pick up the Baron buff, so it will be available for a Fat Rabbit to bait around and sort of poke them around if they choose to contest here. Nixwater has to be very careful.
They're going to jump onto Nixwater. Still a mini Gnar, going to take a lot of damage here. Will go down, shut down for D-Dan. Now Saigon Joker is trying to return the damage. D-Dan will be the first one to go down. Jokebot the next. 3-on-4 here in favor of Saigon Joker. Circles on the hunt. Big Pablo Beta jumps in with that Rift Walk. One more down. Crazy Pine will be the next target. Now Lovita still chasing down the raiding members. So we Dream to go down next. Peschap, the sole survivor for the Fat Rabbit.
And again, this is the problem with the composition that they're running. They throw all the spells onto catch one champion, then it's all down on cooldown. And basically you have 6 seconds of vulnerability that the Saigon Jokers are going to capitalize on. You have to wait for your rotation of spells to come out again before you can even deal more damage, and that was the situation that the Fat Rabbit was put into. Now this Baron will be going over to SAJ. The jungler for the Fat Rabbit isn't anywhere close. With the 3 dragon buffs and this Baron, it's going to signal that the Saigon Jokers should start sieging and should start taking these disadvantaged fights, because they have the power now to choose whatever they want to fight.
Like you said, Saigon Joker's really in the driving seat right now. 9,000 gold advantage after the long dominating early game from the Fat Rabbits into a very even stalemate, and now they have a huge lead after that crazy initiation with the Gnar stun into the wall from Nixwater. 9-2-6 Peschap, 4-4-6 for Dream. Rest of the members though all on negative scores. 1-5 for Lissandra, 3-7 for D-Dan, 1-6 for Crazy Pine.
Yeah, take a look at the take a look at the itemization coming in from SAJ. All the members know to cover each other's weakness. The frontliners, Gnar and Pantheon, they go for armor because they know if we slow up the front line, Lovita as well as Prince will catch up, and Su will keep us safe from all the burst damage. And everyone else just go full damage, you know, keep putting out what you need to do your job, and your teammates will carry your defensive windows, so defensive weakness. So Saigon Jokers playing like a team, willing to make it out of groups, whereas Fat Rabbit faltering a bit here and there.
That Rabbit definitely will have to make a final stand here. I like the Warmogs pickup from next water, something which we see a lot of top laners and junglers now picking up after their big armor and magic resistance items. Once they hit about 150 resistances, there's no need for them to stack up anymore. They go straight for health items like Warmogs and Frozen Mallet.
Yeah, and especially with how Gnar works, the more resistance you stack, the extra health you get, it just becomes more and more effective. You can just jump in like that, use the man drop.
Wow, here comes man drop. Jokebot immediately has to pop that zone. He's going to take down D-Dan immediately. Jokebot pops over that Glacial Prison on himself. He will go down. The Lovita goes on a killing spree. Saigon Juggers pull the trigger before they even get to the inhibitor tower.
Yeah, this is the composition you never want to face when you're playing as Xerath. You know the crosshairs are on you. You know you can't escape. Even if you do get far away, you know there's a certain chance that Lovita is just going to jump on you and delete you anyway. With that Void Staff now, Saigon Jokers looking to take the very happy 2-0 here.
There we go, Dream getting jumped on, obliterated by Prince. That should be game for the Saigon Jokers. They go 2-0 against Fat Rabbit today. And Saigon Jokers, they've already secured their place in the Greater Premier League. Fat Rabbit, so they wanted to try and fight for the right to stay alive, and now it's all up to Hanoi followers to decide who will advance in to the next stage of the GPL. But well played by the Saigon Jokers.
Yeah.
They were behind for most of the game, and then very